Everybody, welcome back to Thrasher's Ghetto Fab, and we're gonna work on steering today for my 32. So let me show you what I got going on here so far. Okay, so got a set of seats here. Actually, just got the one in here. The other one's in my house right now. Got these from Two Tall Interiors out of Dayton. Guy was super awesome, named Tim, and I'll throw his number up here at the end. Definitely want to shout him out because super reasonable, did a beautiful job, and you know, within a month I had him. You know, right in the time frame he said I was going to have him. So just want to say that for him. But moving on here, we can see here I got some kind of temporary brackets here to kind of hold the steering in place, and I've been sitting in the car getting an idea, you know, how it all fits me, and got it pretty close. The seats are a little bit thick for my height. I'm 6 foot tall, and it's putting my eyes a little bit higher than I'd like in the windshield. You know, with a car chopped this hard, it's important to get your eyes where they need to be. So hopefully my ass kind of settles into those and pushes them down about an inch or so. But I said, I think we're gonna make it no problem. So moving forward here, I'm gonna start making a column drop here. As you can see on my temporary piece. I'll go over to the bench here. And made myself a cardboard template here, and you can see it kind of fits together like that. And you bend it here and there, whatever. It's going to have a hole in here, and the column will drop through there. So I just want to see if that's into aluminum or what I was going to do. I do want to polish it. I think it looked nice. The dash is going to be the same metal flake as the seats and the steering wheel. So I found a piece of 16 gauge stainless that I've had for years from another project, and measured this out and laid this pattern on here. So I'm gonna get set up here, and I'm gonna cut this out and get this bent up and see if I can make a column drop here. So moving along here with this column drop, you can see I got the basic shape here, and actually fits pretty decent. Kind of welded it together there. You saw in the clip there, I had to kind of bend this top stuff in the, actually I can do with one hand here, but this top stuff I had to just do in the vise. I could not do that in the brake. And actually this stainless bent a whole lot easier than I thought it was going to, because it is pretty thick. So, but anyways, so this is going to fit here, as you saw it in the earlier part of the video, and now I'm going to take and clean this thing up, maybe add a little curves to the side or something, and just clean it up, make it look nice, maybe add a couple of holes with the dimple dies or something. So let me start laying this out here, cleaning it up, and I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, a little off-camera work there, guys, and I got the column drop done here. You can see it come out real nice. It's smoothed everything out and kind of added some curves to it to give it, give it a nice look, I believe. And ended up polishing it. I couldn't find my actual polishing stuff, so I just sanded it to 800 and then ran over with my buffer and some aluminum polish. So it does need a little bit more work, but I don't know. To me, it just seemed like it needed to be polished with the with the column there to kind of tie it in, make it look right. It's probably a complete waste of time right now, but anyways, so that is in there, and then I'm gonna move on to the underneath support now, and a bracket here that I made, and that's gonna mount to the firewall, and then 2 pieces of 3/4 that I'm gonna use for my steering. Got some extra here. It's really hard to show you guys, but there's a bracket that bolts to the if you can get it, see up in there, that bolts to the dash. And that's going to weld there, and then weld to that other bracket I showed you, and bolt to the firewall. And what that's going to do is basically, creates a box, between the firewall, the top of the cowl, and the dash, and strengthens everything up for this second the column drop, by the wheel. And then I will add another support at the bottom to support this wheel, this column, so it's super rigid in here and doesn't move around. So I'll get that up on the camera here, try to film this the best I can, and we'll move forward making this next bracket. All right, guys, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I don't have a mic, so what I'm gonna attempt to do here is I'm gonna attempt to put these tubes in, tack them to the bracket that I made on the dash, and just try to get them somewhere close, and then adjust them out. So let me see if I can get them in there, and actually try to get it on video. We'll see. It's a pretty tough one. All right, guys, really hard to get this on camera. Hopefully you can kind of see in here, the bracket that I made is now up against the firewall, and I'm gonna try to push this where it needs to be. It's pretty close, and get it tacked, and then I can pull everything back out and do some final welding out of the car, and hopefully that would be it. And then I can make my next brackets, which would be, I don't know what you guys can see, but we'll grab the column. I'll show that and how I make those to support the column. All right, so here's the piece out of the car, tacked together. It was a little crooked. I had to cut off the weld here, straighten it back up, make sure it fit in the car. But yeah, all in all, not too bad. I added a little curve here just because I'm completely OCD and figured it needed some kind of look there that you'll never see because it's completely up under the dash. But added it anyways, so I'm gonna put it back in the car now, and I'll get the camera, try to set back up and try to film this. But I'm gonna make some brackets here that come off of here, some kind of triangle brackets, and those are gonna grab that that clamp on the column. So I'm gonna get it back in the car, I'll get that set back up, and we'll make some cardboard templates and get those cut out and get it all tacked together. So I got the brackets here, the design I'm going to use, and these are going to drop down from the those 2 3/4 inch tubes I showed you guys putting on under the dash there. So I kind of came up with this curve design here. I kind of like to not make anything straight, don't know why, but I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna get this one cut out. The one's done already, and clamp them together here. I'll make them exactly the same, and I'll get these going, and I'll head and tack these in the car, and then we can move on to the steering box once all this is mounted. I'm gonna leave everything tacked like I always do, and just make sure everything lines up before I finish welding any of the bracket that I made there. All right, hope we can see on there, see my lights on my camera here, and it's hard to get down there because I need to cut this tube out of here, but I was using that to hold everything in place until I did. But anyways, I'll get that out of here in a little bit. You can see the pieces tacked in there and the clamp there. Only thing I did want to say about this clamp I got from Speedway, it's a nice piece. It's like 35 bucks, it's not expensive. But the one thing, if you do buy one of these that I did not know, is there's like a set screw on the inside of there, and I could not figure out why I couldn't spread the thing apart. Like an idiot, I started to like drill it because I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I'm just gonna run a long bolt through it. If you get one of these, there is an Allen head in there, and you can take it out, and that's what tightens the clamp to the column. And then there's 2 other bolts there that tighten it down. So just a word to wise there for anybody buys this clamp. I said it's a nice, fairly inexpensive piece, and it works well. But yeah, do that anyways. So moving forward here, you can see I marked the firewall where this is going to come through. Let's roll around to the front of the car here. And as you can see, if you look at the X pattern here, it's going to come through right about here. And that's going to hit literally right in the back of my valve cover. And so to make this work, I'm going to use one of these steer clears, clear steer, whatever the hell they're called. I'm going to get that ordered, like I think I said in the beginning of the video. So what, I was going to drill a hole in here because I do kind of want to mount it on the outside, but I don't really know that that's going to be feasible yet. I don't know exactly how wide it is. And so I'm just going to mark it here on the outside. I'm going to get my steering box set up here for you guys, and then I can, get a better idea where this is going to go. I'd like to put it on the inside, but we're kind of spaces at a premium for the master cylinders on the pedals. So I said I'm going to switch gears here with you guys and move to the steering box, get that mounted up, get that clamped on, get it tacked on, and then we can start figuring out the whatever we need to do to get this steer clear in here. So all right, so we're moving forward here to the steering box, and you can see I got it set in place here. And let's see here. So what I do here, so I had to it sits a lot higher, probably because the axle is sitting so low with the how low the spring is, and I pushed everything up. So you can, normally this would sit about right here. I mean, this top of this bracket would sit down here. Since I can't do anything normal, I had to redo the bracket, and I did this off camera, and I would pull it off and show you guys what I did, but I don't feel like messing. It's set, so I don't want to mess with it. Anyways, so I had to weld on the bottom 2 here underneath. I had to weld a nut in here. That way it would sit flush against the frame, and I ran the bolts in back in the other way, which creates another problem, but I'll figure that out, not a big deal. So, I kind of angled it, as you can see. The motor mount has to go back in here, and it is not going to fit. It's going to need to be notched or changed or something to get the steering shaft where it needs to go. But everything is lined up here. The spacing on there, it's level, the steering box level, and everything looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this tacked in here real quick, and I wanna move forward and start figuring out how we're gonna do this. I did have the manifold in here earlier, and so everything's gonna fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta trim this boss off here just to make a little bit more room, and that should clear the back of the manifold and hit somewhere up in here. And I believe that I can do this without that clear steer that I was talking about earlier in the video, which is going to save me about $675. And I didn't really want to run it anyways because it seems like cheating and it's kind of street rodish, and this is not a street rod by any means. So yeah, we'll get this set up on the camera here for you guys. We'll get this tacked on and get moving forward with how we're going to do the steering up, to the column. All right, well, I've been moving along here on the steering, guys, and did a lot of stuff off camera just because I was here scratching my head trying to figure it all out. So it would have been a lot of just downtime hard to video anyway. So this is what I came up with. As you can see, I got the stuff's just, tacked in and, got an idea how it's all going to work. I had to move these brackets back, which I believe I said earlier, and slid the column back a little bit, and now it's going to be too long. It's going to be about 3 inches too long. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut this down. Shouldn't be too big a deal. There's a bearing in the bottom there. I'll pop that out, and shorten the column. And then I got a buddy of mine that can do some machining for me, have him put the double D, the 2 flat spots back in the shaft there, and get the column back where it needs to be. So that's, you know, not a big deal at this point. So if you take a look in here, you can see I cut the firewall, just a big hole there just so I could work. I figured I gotta weld it up anyways, so just cut it all out so I can get in there. And you can see how extremely tight it is to the head. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to grind the corner of that boss off there. I don't need it, and I'll clean that up. But it is extremely close, but it does spin with no binding. No, it would if it had the support in there. So let me flip around to the other side here, and I'll show you guys what I'm working on over here. All right, so here's the next order of business in this. As you can see, the steering shaft here is just bouncing around because it has so many universals in it. Anytime you do 3 universals, you have to put something in to support the shaft. So what I'm working on here is, the problem was there was nowhere to mount this. I didn't want to mount one in the firewall, but it just would not work out. I'm just going to do a hole, maybe put a rubber boot there or something to clean that up. But so I'm going to go with the standard rod end, you know, setup here, which I do have on my other hot rod. And the issue is it's so far from the frame and it's such a weird spot to clear the manifold, is I needed something to mount the rod into. And what I have in here, roughed in here right now, again, I did this all off camera because I wasn't sure how it was all going to fit together and work, and I was trying to figure out a way to make this, you know, look decent and everything. So I have a very rough bracket in here. As you can see, it bolts between the motor mount and the bell housing bolts there. And I got a piece of tubing in there, just a piece left over for my tie rod. And I'm going to make a simple triangle bracket here, and that's going to mount the this rod end here, and that should tie it all together is the plan. So gonna get this tacked in here for you, and I will do that on camera for you guys. And then this, like I said, this bracket is really rough, and this is kind of how I do it. Usually make a real basic brackets, and then I'll clean them up, make them look nice, make them look, you know, uniform and everything. So I'm gonna get this tacked together, and I'll show you guys the finished product. So I'm gonna try to video this. As you saw in the last clip there, it was tacking that bracket on, and it seems to be working here. Let me turn the wheel if I can, and you can see the steering column, or the steering box pitman arms moving. Nothing's binding, and nothing seems to be hitting at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the exhaust manifold back on, make sure that clears. Once I know that works, then I can go ahead and blow this apart and get it all cleaned up, make it look nice. All right, so we saw in that last clip there, guys, I tacked on this piece here that grabs that eyelet, or that rod end to hold the steering column in there. And it kind of did a test fit with the exhaust manifold, and it was actually touching it out a little bit, so I had to move it back a little farther. And when I did that, I also decided that I should probably make it a little thicker steel. So now I got some 3/16 instead of 1/8, just to beef it up a little bit. But there's the bracket. As you can see, it's very rough and looks like ass at the moment because it's just to make it, you know, mock it up and get the fit in there. So what I'm gonna do now here, set the camera up on fast forward, I believe, and I'm gonna go ahead and make this bracket pretty. I'm gonna start with welding, TIG welding everything in so nothing moves. Make sure these tacks don't break, and then I'll figure out some kind of, you know, so what I'm looking for here, some kind of shape on these brackets to make it look nice. All right, so we saw in that last clip there, I got the bracket cleaned up, welded, and just tightened it up. Made it look, before it was just kind of all blocky and very, very primitive, so crude. So there it is. You can see it. Got him out of here, back on the car, and I'm happy with that. It works out pretty well. Like I said, everything's pretty tight, but seems like everything's gonna clear and work. I can't remember if I mentioned earlier though, this is one reason I do run solid mounts on my stuff. I don't have to worry about anything moving. So if anybody worries about stuff being too close watching the videos, nothing should move here. I mean, if it is a little bit of twist in the chassis, that would be it. And so I should be good on clearance for everything. I think I got enough footage here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, called part 1 of the steering. I do have some, finish work to do. They do have to rework the motor mount. As we saw, the steering shaft's going to run through it, or close to behind it. I'm not exactly sure yet. So to rework that, I do have to shorten the steering column up, and I also would want to get the get everything welded for you guys, show you all the welding, the U-joints in and everything like that. So just want to say thanks for watching. This is part 1 of the steering on my 32, and we'll see you next time at Thrasher's Ghetto Fab.